feel like this is probably the worst vlog in the history of vlogs.
My MacBook died. Get out of my house, Spider. You can be outside in nature, but like, this is where I sleep. The universe hates me. I don't know, guys, I don't know. I feel like I'm failing at this readathon.
Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my channel. This is the start of a new reading vlog. Today is July 2nd, which means the Jane Austen July readathon is officially underway. I'm not going to tell you all the books that I'm reading for that readathon because I have like 8 books on my TBR. Last night I read the first 35 pages of The Mysteries of Udolpho by Anne Radcliffe. I am reading this for the Jane Austen July prompt to read a book by a Jane Austen contemporary. This was a very popular Gothic novel in that time period and is referenced heavily in Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey. It says in the intro to this edition that basically in the 19th century, this book was seen as required reading of sorts. If you were someone who claimed to know a lot about literature, you had to read this book because it was so well known. And I honestly don't know exactly what this book is about. The main character's name is Emily. And even though I read 35 pages, we really haven't gotten into the main plot yet. So I can't really give you a plot summary for this because I don't know it myself. What makes me nervous is this book is almost 700 pages, and if you look at the font, it's pretty little. So, good thing I'm getting this started early in the month, because I think this is going to be a serious undertaking. I really have no expectations for this book, which is good, I guess. I'm just going into it relatively blind. So that is it for the intro to this vlog, and I will see you again when I have some reading updates for you on this or one of my other books on my TBR.
Hello, so today is July 4th, and so far I've read a little over 50 pages of The Mysteries of Udolpho. Haven't really gotten into the main plot yet, and I feel like I'm just gonna continue reading this little by little as I work on some other books for the readathon, because I have a lot of books I have to read. Good news is I finished one of the books on my TBR that was not related to the readathon, The Perfect Guests by Emma Rue. I am not sure how to say her last name. I am sorry. I think I'm gonna give this 4 stars because I read this whole book in 24 hours. I really liked the atmosphere, the vibes. However, I didn't love the ending so much. I think the ultimate reveal to the mystery and the twists the author throws at the reader felt a little bit too out of left field. I think a great twist or reveal in a mystery and or thriller novel, you should not see it coming, but also in retrospect, you should realize there were a whole bunch of signs and you just didn't see it until now. I just feel like the reveals at the end of this book weren't really foreshadowed, and they often relied on a lot of exposition. Like, you would have a character say, okay, here, I'm going to tell you all about my evil plan now, and it just didn't feel as organic as I think it should have felt. I did like this, though. I thought it had a really good atmosphere, and I was interested in it. The ending just was not my favorite. Hello. So it is the 7th, and man, almost immediately after I last updated you guys, my MacBook died. So I had to rush out and buy another one. Yeah, a major purchase that, you know, I really didn't want to make right now, but it's fine. I am happy with the new computer, so that's good. I have gotten to volume 2 of the Mysteries of Udolpho, and I think we're finally getting more so into the actual Gothic plot. The first 160 pages really didn't feature that many Gothic elements, and it was slow at first. I wish I had $1 for every time the heroine faints or almost faints. But I don't want to make it sound like I hate the book or anything. I do see how Jane Austen might have been inspired by it in some ways. There is some humor at the side characters' expense, especially with Madame Charon, I think is her name. She's the main character's aunt. And the text definitely pokes fun at her in a way that's very reminiscent of what Jane Austen frequently does. So that's about it. I'm hoping I'm not going to lose power this week with the tropical storm Elsa headed towards Florida, and I might start working on another one of my Jane Austen July books just to spice it up a little bit. I kind of feel like I'm in a rut, so maybe starting another book and making progress on that will help me out.
So, hi. I have seriously considered just deleting this vlog and thinking of something else to post the week I was going to post this, because my TBR for Jane Austen July, I'm barely making any progress. I've been reading The Mysteries of Udolpho, got to like 300 pages, have another 300 to go, and I've read some books, but a lot of them were not on my TBR for this readathon, and so I have like nothing to update the vlog about, and I feel like this is probably the worst vlog in the history of vlogs. It's so boring, probably. I don't know what to do. Should I just kind of scrap my TBR and just read whatever I want? Should I try to power through? Should I post this vlog? I really don't know, but I haven't been reading a lot, so I need to consider my options. I'm gonna finish up at work today, and then when I get off of work at 4, I'm going to go jump in the pool so I can ignore my problems.
Just got out of the shower, and not only did a spider crawl up my hand while I was outside, but when I went into my closet after my shower, there was a spider in there. It wasn't like a very big one, but it was a spider, and I hit it with my flip-flop, and I'm not sure if I got it or not, or if he's still here. Get out of my house, spider. You can be outside in nature, but like this is where I sleep, so like stay away. So, Jane Austen July. In the middle of this. Honestly, probably not going to read this. It's due back at the library soon, and I don't feel like starting it, so probably not reading that after all. This, I'm really excited for it. It's quite large, so I might start this tonight because I need to get on that. Also, I will be buddy reading Persuasion with Naomi from Naomi's Bookshelf starting the 19th, so that is coming up real soon. After that, I might read one of these instead. I think I'm a little more in the mood for these, but they're still Austen adjacent. I really wanted to fit these on my TBR, but couldn't, so maybe I'll try to get out of my reading slump with one of these options. I think somebody on a video recently commented that Heartstone is really, really good, so maybe I'll read that, and hey, what better to get you out of a reading slump than a book with dragons? So I'm going to start reading The Other Bennet Sister, and I think I am going to use one of my Jane Austen bookmarks. The person, be it gentleman or lady, who has not had pleasure in a good novel must be intolerably stupid. Nicely said, Jane. I agree. just barely started, but so far this book is really good. I think the author has done a great job at capturing Austen's voice and style so far, and I really like her interpretation of Mary's character and how her upbringing influenced her. So far I really like this, but I've only read 20 pages and I have about 580 left to go.
But then my doctor recommended Tabitha, a prescription that works without medications, and I didn't have to fight so much. In a clinical study, more than 10 patients.
Woo! Good job! Look, here comes Drizzle. Drizzle, you see it? Ah, you got it! You got it! No, it's gone.
Mariana was shook with the new Popeye sandwiches and more pack. With 4 chicken sandwiches, 4 tenders, and a large side for
Hello! So I just finished filming a video for you all, and now I think I'm going to go outside and read The Mysteries of Udolpho, because this is due back at the library on the 21st. Today is the 18th, and also my buddy read of Persuasion with Naomi starts tomorrow, so I need to get moving. The other Bennett sister is on hold while I work on these, and I don't know, guys. I don't know. I feel like I'm failing at this readathon. Hi, baby. Yeah? Where are you going? Come sit with me. I think something about The Mysteries of Udolpho is it's kind of like thematically all over the place. It's gothic, but then it also has elements of romantic, like lower R. And also, I kind of feel like elements of romantic with a capital R, because there is a lot of discussion of nature and the sublime. It kind of reminds me of the scenes describing nature in Frankenstein, but turned up to 11. Then there's also poetry. Every chapter begins with a quote, a lot of them Shakespeare, and there'll be these really weird parts where it'll be like, and Emily looked at the mountains, and then in her mind, she composed these lines, and it's a full-on sonnet. I'm like, this girl just like thinks in sonnets. Weird. But anyways, this book is just like so many things in once. It's a little like hard to explain because there's elements of I feel like so many different genres here in this one book. But what I was gonna say is I wish the book had been like a little more melodramatic, to be honest. Like, this was my first gothic novel, straight up gothic novel, and I was kind of expecting it to be a little more soap opera-y. I'm kind of disappointed that it wasn't crazier. I heard from people who took the Gothic novels class when I was studying abroad. Like, there was a book they read where literally like a giant object fell out of the sky and crushed some guy to death. Like, that's the kind of drama that I was expecting, and it seems very tame in comparison. I don't know, I kind of wish the book could have been a little more melodramatic. Tomorrow I'm starting Persuasion, which I'm buddy reading with Naomi, but we're only reading 3 chapters a day, so that should be doable. That's not too much reading for tomorrow. Talk to you guys later. Hello, so I finished reading The Mysteries of Udolpho. 3 stars. It was okay. I wanted a little bit more from it, but there were some good parts. I don't really know what to say about this. I feel like I wouldn't recommend it to people, but if it's something you're really interested in, I wouldn't discourage you from reading it either. I definitely think there were elements of it that reminded me of later works and later literary movements. But, overall, I wanted a little more from it. The main character was fine. She fainted a lot. The love interest was a little bit annoying. And I wanted more drama from the Gothic plot. But it wasn't a bad read either. I also started reading Persuasion for my buddy read, and though I have read this book before, I forgot a lot of the details. I read 4 chapters and there were already things where I was like, oh, I forgot about that. So I'm definitely excited to be rereading it. We'll see what I think. I know this is some people's favorite Jane Austen, and I did really like it, but it is not my all-time favorite, so I'll give you more detailed thoughts as I continue rereading, and right now I gotta go to work. So I'm still in the beginning stages of Persuasion, and I like it. I definitely forgot a lot of the little details. I do like Anne as a narrator, and I really have sympathy for her because her family is awful. I wish that we got to see more of her personality, because this is my second time reading this book and I'm not exactly sure what character traits I would use to describe Anne Elliot as a character and a person. She's a little bit more reserved compared to some other Austen heroines. She is a little bit insecure, maybe, because her family has always made her feel kind of worthless and unappreciated, and I think maybe that's why she was so willing to take Lady Russell's advice, because Lady Russell is the only person who actually treats her well since her mother died. And hot take, I don't think Lady Russell's advice was necessarily bad advice. Obviously, we know in retrospect that Captain Wentworth ended up having good prospects, but at the time, that was not assured, and had it gone wrong, there would have been basically no way for Anne to get out of the marriage. So, but that's a divergence from the point. I just think probably because this book is so short compared to Austen's other works, I don't have as much of a full picture of who Anne and Captain Wentworth are as people. Anne especially, I like her, but I don't really know how I would describe her. What we've really learned about Captain Wentworth in the little bit he's been in the book so far is, he's always been industrious. He was very assured that he was going to have success in the future. He's more confident and self-assured than Anne is, and he's being a bit standoffish so far, but that's because his heart was broken, and so he's guarding his heart a little bit, which is understandable. I do think, though, it's super cute how Anne is nervous to see Captain Wentworth again. It's so sweet. Ugh. Okay, so I'm going to the library to return these and to pick out a book for the upcoming Scrabble TBR video, and it's pouring rain outside. I don't want to go, but I have to go because my books are due. It's pouring. Why, Florida? Why? I just want it to be sunny. I want to go to the beach. I want to be outside, and instead, every single day, it's sunny while I'm stuck inside at work, and then when I get off, thunderstorms all night long. The universe hates me. There is a bee somewhere in this house, and until I find him and get him out of here, I will never know peace. So, wish me luck. Hello, it's a couple minutes later and my hair is now a mess because I went outside into the humidity, and I still don't know where the bee is in my house, so keeping my bedroom door closed, stay out. But to give you a reading update, I have made it further into Persuasion. I have less than 100 pages left in this book, and we finally got to Bath. Yeah, I've read this book before, and I really forgot a lot of the little details, so there are some parts where I got to that and I was like, ooh, I did not remember that at all. I'm definitely glad that I planned this reread. I do wish the book was longer, because I think had it been longer, we could have spent more time with the characters, and I feel like I like Anne a lot as a protagonist, but I feel like I don't know her as well as some of the other Austen protagonists, and I wish that I could have been with her more. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean. Like, I want to spend more time with the characters and really get to know them on a deeper level. I am enjoying this though. Super glad that I planned this reread. Then I also got to volume 2 of The Other Bennet Sister. We are finally in the part of the book that takes place after the events of Pride and Prejudice, and I'm really excited about that because those were the parts of the book that I was looking forward to the most. I still really enjoyed part 1, don't get me wrong. I actually really enjoyed the friendship that we see between Mary and Charlotte in volume 1 because I think they are in some aspects extremely similar characters, so it was really interesting to see how this author imagines their interactions. I think this author does a great job at depicting the characters from Pride and Prejudice. I could really believe all of them acting like the way they act in this book. I feel like I said that weird. I could see all of the characters doing what they do in this book. That's what I mean. The one exception may be Mrs. Bennet. I feel like Mrs. Bennet is a little too mean-spirited, especially to Mary. I always thought of Mrs. Bennet's character as she's really vain and silly and not the best mother, but I don't remember her ever being, like, actively bullying as far as I can remember. I could be wrong, but I just think sometimes she's a little bit too harsh. Other than that, though, I really think the characterization in this book is great. The transition from part 1 to part 2 was a little abrupt. I was taken aback at first, but I am really excited to get to this part of the book and see what happens for the rest of it. Captain Wentworth really does have the most romantic declaration of love in all of Jane Austen. I can't. I'm like not okay. I'm emotionally compromised. Oh my god. Have you ever heard like a more beautiful declaration of love in all of literature? Wow. It's so bad. Jane Austen's power. Okay, her power. Ugh, I can't. And I love how immediately after Captain Wentworth's letter, the book literally says, "Such a letter was not to be soon recovered from." Yeah, no shit. I'm emotionally compromised. Okay, I can't. I have feelings. How am I supposed to get over this? This is love. This is love right here. Okay. Oh my god, I'm obsessed. I can't. It's so beautiful. I finished rereading Persuasion and my heart is happy. I loved the ending and it was really, really good. I gave this book 4 stars the first time I read it. I might bump it up to 4.5. I did really, really enjoy this. And my only wish is I wish the book could have been longer because I wanted to spend more time with the characters. And I do think there were some elements towards the end that, you know, could have been developed more. Like the whole like Mrs. Smith thing kind of just felt like a little bit like a plot convenience. And I wish that I could have spent more time with Anne and like gotten to know her more. However, Captain Wentworth has the most romantic speech in the most romantic letter in the history of literature. It's just beautiful, beautiful writing, and it was a great story. I really, really did love it. I just wish that it had been longer so I could have spent more time in the story. I believe that when Jane Austen was writing this, she was beginning to have health problems that would eventually lead to her death. So I believe what my Jane Austen professor said is that though this is technically a finished work, it probably would have been longer had she not been having those health problems, so she might have had to cut some corners to get the book finished. Also, Naomi and I were buddy reading this together, and there are some canceled chapters of Persuasion, which are basically the original ending that Jane Austen wrote, and then she rewrote the ending, which is the ending that I just read. So I think the two of us are both going to go online and read the original ending to see what we think, because neither of us have read that before. So that will be fun as well. I did really, really love this though. It was good. It's not my favorite Austen, but it's still exceptional, and I did overall enjoy it. Now I'm going to go to bed, and I'm very happy tonight. What a great way to end the evening by finishing Persuasion.
You are so cute. Oh my goodness. Is there a cuter girl in the world than you? Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Hello again. I am in my pajamas even though it is only like 7:30. Please don't judge me. But I am now 300 pages through the other Bennet sister, and we have now gotten past the events of Pride and Prejudice in the narrative, but I still feel like the pacing of this book is off. This book, in this particular edition, is over 600 pages, so we are now about 50% of the way through, and we haven't gotten to Mary's romance plot yet. Where is Mary's love interest? When is he going to be introduced? I'm 50% of the way through this book, and like the main plot of the book hasn't happened yet. It's a little odd. I feel like this book could have been edited down a lot. I wonder if perhaps the reason why it rehashed all the events of Pride and Prejudice in the beginning was because the publisher or the editor wanted people who haven't read Pride and Prejudice to still be able to read this book. I don't really know. I think it went on for a little too long. So now we are in the part of the book that takes place a few years after the events of Pride and Prejudice. And okay, complaint number one. This is the second book I've read this year, the first being Death Comes to Pemberley, where the author has Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy name their firstborn son Fitzwilliam Jr., which is so unfortunate because Fitzwilliam is an awful name, okay? It's not cute, it's not sexy. Why Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy would choose to pass that name onto their child, I do not know, because it's a mouthful. Why couldn't they just name him Bennet? You know, they could continue a tradition of the son getting his mother's maiden name, and Bennet is a perfectly cute name. But anyways, if I was writing this book, that's what their kid would be named, but I'm not the author, so. Secondly, I do think this author does a good job at capturing Austen's style, and I do think the characterization of some of the characters is very accurate. I know some people complain because in this book, Elizabeth and Jane do not come across as well as they do in Pride and Prejudice. I don't have a problem with that necessarily because we are getting this from Mary's perspective, and I can understand why she has some resentment due to her family situation growing up. And I do think the way that Elizabeth and Jane's flaws are depicted are not necessarily hard to buy. Like, for example, there's a part in this book where Mary goes to stay with Jane and Mr. Bingley, and Mr. Bingley's sister is being very mean to Mary, and Jane doesn't really do anything about it. You see, I can believe that because I think Jane's flaw is she's too nice, and so I can see her avoiding conflict. I buy that. I think, though, I do have a problem with the fact that Mary in this book really doesn't have many flaws other than her insecurity. It's sort of like all the bad situations in her life are through absolutely no fault of her own. and she's sort of the victim in every situation. I feel like this Mary is a little too perfect. She never does anything wrong. She never makes a mistake. And I don't really like that. I hope that later in the book we will see Mary reconcile with her family in some sort of way, because we do find out very early on in this book that as a child, Mary's insecurity did cause her to push Lizzie and Jane away. So I would like to see a scene at some point where she's able to talk to her sisters and sort of have some form of reconciliation, even though I don't think they can ever be the best of friends. I would like to see Mary talk to her sisters about her feelings. And I don't know if that moment is ever going to happen in this book, or if that relationship will remain unmended. I hope that this is resolved, but I'm not going to hold my breath. So, I still have quite a ways to go, and hopefully we will get to the romantic plot soon. So I've now gotten up to around page 400, and the book has actually addressed some of the issues that I talked about in my last update, so less than 300 pages to go. I don't know if I'm going to update you guys again before I finish it. I might just save the rest of my thoughts for when I get to the end. Hello, I was going to do a nice setup and put my ring light on for this last bit of the vlog, but Drizzle wants me to pet her, so, you know, she's the boss of me, so that's what we're doing. But I finished reading the other Bennett sister. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. Yeah, I do think the book was able to address some of my fears in a Hi, sweetie. I don't even remember what I was saying now. Okay, are we good? Are we good? I do think there were times in this book where the author did a great job at capturing a bit of an Austen-like tone, and for the most part, I think the characters were accurate to how they are in Pride and Prejudice, with, like I said, the exception of Mrs. Bennet. I feel like Mrs. Bennet was so mean-spirited in this book, and that's just not how I personally see her character. From my memory, I think she's a silly woman, a little vain, and lacks tact sometimes, but I don't think she's as bullying as she is in this book. I kind of wish Mary was more flawed, and I don't know if this makes sense to you guys, or if you agree with me or not, but I kind of feel like Mary in this book is the most perfect member of her family. She doesn't really make mistakes, and the character flaw that she has to overcome in this book is solely her own insecurity. Even at the end of the book, where we have Mary and her love interest, the only thing that stands in the way of their being together is miscommunication. And miscommunication is a trope with romance plots that I really dislike. I find it so frustrating because it's so simple to overcome. If they just had a conversation about their feelings, everything would be good. It's just so contrived. And one thing that I enjoy about Pride and Prejudice, and why I think Elizabeth Bennet is such an interesting character, is because she does have this fatal flaw, if you will, that she has to overcome. She has to reconcile that she has been unfairly judgmental and that she doesn't know as much as she thinks she does. I think Mary in this book is very much a Fanny Price type of character, and I like Fanny Price. I'm a Fanny Price defender. However, I just kind of felt like Mary in this book was a little too perfect, and I wish that she had more flaws, because I think that would have made her feel more real to me. Are you done with me now? Have I been dismissed? Okay. I thought the romance in this book was fine. However, it has a love triangle that's not really a love triangle because there is another character who is romantically interested in Mary, but the book never makes you believe for a second that this person is a serious contender for Mary's heart. So I didn't really love that. You often see in Jane Austen novels, there's the main heroine, the person she eventually ends up with, and then there's another male character who is a bit of a rake or a scoundrel and makes a play for the heroine's heart. And I personally like it better when the scoundrel actually has a chance of almost succeeding. I wouldn't even say that the other love interest in this is a scoundrel. He seems like a perfectly nice guy. He's just not right for Mary. But I think I would have enjoyed it more had he actually had a chance, any chance at all. Because even though I've gone into every Jane Austen novel knowing who the heroine is going to end up with, I like there to be at least an attempt to make me think she's gonna pick the other guy. Again, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I feel. This is like a really unflattering angle for me, but anyways, so overall I did really like this, and it did address some of the things that I wanted it to address. It's very clear to me that this author has read a lot of Austen. I think you can really see in this nods to her other works. Like I said, I think Fanny Price was probably a huge inspiration for Mary's character. So you can definitely see that the author is knowledgeable about Austen, and there are little winks to Pride and Prejudice and other works. Maybe that bothers some people. It didn't bother me at all. So that's it for this Jane Austen July vlog. I didn't get to read everything that was on my huge TBR, but that's okay. I had fun. I hope you guys did too. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every single Wednesday. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, and I hope to see you in the next video. Can you hear her purring? Drizzle, please get out of my pants drawer. Drizzle, what are you doing? Get out. Oh my God, I can't.